Hey everyone, Corrie here. It is midweek, July the 12th. We are pretty much almost in the middle of the month. And I'm telling you, there has been such and I know time goes fast, and I know it's a statement that we use in our everyday lingo of communicating to each other. It's like, oh my God, didn't time ever go fast? Or where did the years go? But in a energy perspective, in a view of the energy, is that there is something that is happening within the planets and the alignment. And of course, not an astrologer yet, studying now, finally, after all these years, decided to take this on, to align to what I see, feel, sense, know from feeling everything. But there is something that is like almost like that, when you pull an elastic band and you just stretch it, and you kind of, you're kids, you're just like waiting for that intensity of when it's going to snap. It doesn't snap, but then, you let it go, and how fast it takes you, like that period of time to stretch it out. But when you let it go, it's like that, and it's back to that original state of being. That's what it feels like. It feels like there is some sort of like we have been stretched to our max, to our limit. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's like there is a release. It's what it feels. It feels like something has been released. And with that release of tension, with that release of old energy, with something being removed, it's like we're being let go, and old stories, old energies being let go. And there's something saying that there is a return. And so there feels like it's like we're just coming into this period of time where we feel like, oh my God, where have I been? Where have I been? What I've been doing? It's like you're waking up from a dream state of being, and there is a shift in energy. It's like you're going to shake your head. So I'm going to give this, and this is kind of like, I'm going to chuckle a little bit, but it's like, a late night out, probably partied too much, maybe picked up that person you thought was really good looking when you were drinking, thought they're going to be, your future. And then when you wake up the next morning and you look over, and of course this is 18 and over, so I can say this. And so when you look over and you realize, what did I do? And how fast you kind of like eat your way out. And it's like, get out, and then you run. It's like, it's funny how you just run from that experience. You're like, oh, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe that happened. You run from the experience, but you have the memory of it. Now, do you learn a lesson from it? And so this is coming into this week's energy. Have you learned the lessons? We're going to be given the opportunity to get ourselves into a reset, to get ourselves back to a new opportunity. But have you learned the lessons? Will you repeat it again? Will you do things again? That's what you have to ask yourself. What do I need to do now so that I don't repeat the patterns of the past? So I don't go back and do this again. So I don't return to this state of being, so that I don't feel the temptation. I'm not tempted by this, because there is going to be a lot of temptation energy. And the temptation comes from our personal yearnings. It comes from that sense of, what am I wanting? What am I seeking? What are you still yearning for? And if it was just to be picked by someone, or to be chosen, or to be a chosen one, it's like you have to choose yourself, and you have to choose to be. And it's where ownership and responsibility becomes a big, big thing. And so moving forward, it's going to be a big, powerful time for you to really, truly place that ownership and responsibility. So I am breaking this down today. And we're kind of at that midpoint in, we're in the middle of summer season, and we're in the middle of, it's like we have that mid-year. And if you have not listened to your yearly update, your yearly predictions that I give out, then go back and listen to those, because they're each individually there. So I'm going to do a mid-season, and I'm going to do it in, not for each sign individually, but for each element. So if you are a fire sign, if you are a water sign, if you are an earth sign, if you are an air sign. And so I'm going to break them down into 4, because I'm getting 4. So I got to work in the power of 4. So I'm going to work in the quadrants and work my way around into the quadrants, because there is so many things that play out within these messages. Now, remember, we're referring to the energy I'm picking up is it's the ego. It is for the sun. And so the healthy and unhealthy ego of self, it is that is in our sun sign. It's that of the birth sign. But if you have one of those, if you have many of those signs in your elements, or any of those signs, many of those signs in your natal chart, and you have an overwhelming number of those signs of that element, that you may be impacted by this, especially if it's in your Saturn. If it's in your Saturn, and some of our lessons and stuff are here, or if it's in your midheaven. I don't know why, but I just got midheaven. Look at those things, because how are we going to show up? How have we been showing up? How have we been showing up that we have now learned the lesson from? Have you learned your lessons? Have you got what you needed from it? Have you gained the wisdom? Or have you just been walking around complaining about how the world is so shitty, and how the world got nothing good, and but you have not done any of the work, and how you're, maybe walking around going, you know what? I've been there and I know what that's like. And you're good at telling all your friends of how to do things, but you're not really implementing in your life. So that then when you tell all your friends about how to live their lives, and then you go back and repeat the same thing again, they're like, well, how come you were so adamant about us not doing it and us listening, but you're not listening? Interesting. So this is where we're going. So we're going to start with the fire, the element of fire. So if you are a fire sign, if you are an Aries, if you're a Sagittarius, if you're a Leo, then if you have a whole bunch of that in your chart, then this will be the message for you. So we're working midpoint. So I'm going to be working in this fire energy, and this is where we get to know, this is where we face our inner truths. And so when we're looking at ownership and responsibility, it does come with a truth. It comes with discovering a truth. It comes with being very brutally honest with ourselves. And so I'm working with my deck of the Everyday Goddess Oracle cards, which are now available on my website. So go to my website. You can purchase the individual deck of cards. You can also purchase a trio pack where you can get all of my published work. So the two books and the cards, and get them personally signed with a message in each of them for you. And they are available on my website. Go to Corrie Thorne, CorrieThorne.com, and you can get your copy. So fire. So let's see where we are in this, where we need to, what we really need to know about moving forward. It's about what are we not here to repeat, and what are we here to get out of this energy at this midpoint. So for the fire sign, I got unity. And see, I spoke about temptation. So from the Everyday Goddess card, and this is about our feminine energy. You can be male, female, you can identify however you choose. This is about our feminine energy. And so these being the Everyday Goddess, they do work in our feminine energy. And so this is unity. And this is also the master. And so we can be great at mastering the ability to hand out advice, to be able to tell people what to do. We can also be a master at taking control, taking charge. Remember, we're speaking fire signs here. Fire signs can be powerful leaders. Fire signs can be a lot. They can also be shining stars, but we can also be very tempted to break away from, to want to kind of take the path alone, because it's like we can't trust, or we don't trust. And so for the fire signs, it's about being able to really truly take ownership and responsibility of trust and learning trust. And so this morning, when I started to write out my message of this morning, I got a new animal. I got a new animal spirit that came through for me, and I got the snail. And I felt that sense of being disappointed, like a snail. Am I like a snail? They're slow. And so for the fire signs, some of getting to know your truth is to slow down. For this part of the year, even though it feels like time, even though it feels like things that the tension has been let go and you're going back to ground zero, you're going back to a new beginning, is to slow down. Don't feel like you have to over invite everybody in. Don't feel like you have to you don't feel like you have to be somewhere. Trust is going to be everything for you going forward. Trust is going to be your guiding factor in life, is that you have to really be able to trust the self. And so temptation and unity, this card is created with one thread. And so this is the vulnerability. It takes vulnerability to be able to stay in the light. And what am I here to master? And for myself, it's learning through the snail, that the snail has no idea that it's slow, or that it's, that it's not moving fast enough. It is the person who wants, it is the thing or the person that wants it to move faster to get it to go. So it is somebody else's desire. So you may be tempted to have a lot of thoughts in your head, a lot of old ways, a lot of old patterns about now. But there is a part about the fire signs that is about a slow, steady burn, about a warmth. It's about just letting the fire, and that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can be a slow, steady pace, and to trust yourself, trust your intuition, that that slow movement, that methodical moment, that even though it feels like life is ordinary and it's not really nothing big and exciting, that there's a lot of big things that are happening. But it's here to teach patience. Patience and trust work together. And so having the trust and opening up the honesty is the ability to be able to stay connected to the universe, being able to connect to the divine, being able to stay connected to what is most valuable. That you can sit in a room full of people, and even though they're all, talking about their great success, and they say, well, what are you doing? That you don't feel like you have to run out and do something, that you say, you know what, I'm just kind of, I'm just doing, I'm just here. But it's not to be so impulsive. And that's going to be a key element of moving forward for the fire signs, that you don't have to burn shit down. You don't have to get going. You don't have to, you don't have to burn down the world. You don't have to be doing all of those things. You don't even have to keep trying to you don't have to keep trying to light a fire under anyone else. You don't have to become the inspiration for everyone else. You just being in support and allowing yourself to be supported. It's just like keeping a fire contained. It's learning the power that if you can contain this energy, hold this energy, and stay with this energy, stay with this slow movement, that what is to come, and master all of the whys to why you're in why you feel like you have all those old thoughts of I need to go, or I need to be important, or I need to be seen, whatever it may be. And just being able to breathe into it and just say, I'm here to master patience. I'm here to master being able to trust, so that I can trust my intuition. I'll know when my go time is. I'll know when to protect that energy. I'll know when to light that up. I'll know when to be, so you'll know how to work with your energy and move that energy. And that's going to be the key moving forward for the fire signs. That's what I got for you. Water signs. Let's go to water, fire and water, right? Let's go into water signs. So for the water signs, with this stretch and release of energy, I feel like it's like that sense of when they create a dam and they change the direction of the water. And so water signs would be Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer. And we are in Cancer season right now. And so moving forward with this water sign is, I feel like there is a redirection, and that there is something that is not in your plans, and it's going to be redirecting. There's going to be a change in plans that you may be experiencing, and that your lessons, your emotional response of panic, of getting worked up, of everything else in the past, you can't allow that to be the thing, because you're going to be in a repeat. If you try to, if you're unhealed, underdeveloped, emotionally immature patterns, if they step in, if that version of self, if that version of the shadow self steps in, and it makes the choice or decision of the path or the direction, when the direction is coming, or the change is coming, or what is going to be in and obvious to you, that's going to change the projection of your life. If you respond from that way, I feel like you're going to be opening like a Pandora's box. You're going to be opening like a can of worms. You're going to be opening up to something that is just saying, this will not be a healthy way for the rest of the year. If you breathe into it, if you allow your healthy version of your ego, the higher self, to guide you through and just say, who do I need to be in this experience? What do I need to be? And not to put a face of the people of your past. So if this is a relationship, not to put the face and the patterns of the past on the face and the patterns on the face of somebody who may be stepping in that changes the projection of your life. This is not an old situation. It's going to be a new situation. And who you are and how you show up. And it could be a minute thing, or it can be something big. I feel like for some people it's big, but it's like the explosion of the dam and the water goes a different direction, but there's a redirection that is coming up. So redo, restudy, relearn. It may be there for you, or it may be regarding moving into like a forced kind of redirection. Says, I really have to think about it. And so benevolence comes up, and benevolence is Mary. And so when we look at the history of Mary, and we're in a pivotal time during these next few days and the few days before here, when we're in the goddess energy of Mary Magdalene, and Mary Magdalene's life was redirected. It was a big redirection. And there's a lot of stories and gossip told about who and what she is. None of us have personally met her other than through spirit. So our personal relationship with Mary Magdalene, is based on our experience with her, if we've had a personal relationship. If you've had one that's only come from the teaching of man, and you were told what to believe of her, then you're always going to be going in the direction, say she was this, and they transformed her into that. And so they'll say, she was the prostitute and she got transformed, but she was the spiritual teacher. And so sometimes somebody has to redirect their stories to place you the character, to make you into who they need you to be in their story, right? And so, but her life was drastically redirected with the crucifixion of Jesus, and then Jesus becoming a form of another version of Jesus, becoming the Christ-like light. He couldn't stay for her. He had to go do what he needed to do. Then she had to walk a new path. And so, looking in, and it's sometimes at the people in our lives and realizing that there has to been a separation in order for a new path to be walked, a new journey, but to cheer each other on, to be supportive of that. And so there is like a blended message in here. And I feel like, let it sit in your heart. Let it sit in your heart. And so she never planned that. She knew it was coming. She didn't want it. She didn't want to have to deal with it, but she had to operate from her evolved emotions. So she had to be in some way happy for the evolution of Jesus into Christ, that made it. So when in our own selves, or in our friends, or in the people in our lives, of when they have fully evolved and they've come into a new self and a new identity, is that we can be supportive. So benevolence is the ultimate level of kindness. And so being kind to yourself, being kind to others, being kind with your thoughts, kind with your heart, is that when there is a projection or a change in direction that comes, is that you use the benevolent emotions, that sense of right choice, right decisions for the right reasons, not to respond to the shadow's desire, not from the wounded child. Be aware, and let yourself be more of that sense of holy divine self and operating from that divine self as you move into this next stage, into this ending of this year, because it's just a kind of that kind of year. And things can happen in so quickly, in the blink of an eye. So be aware of that. Now, moving into the air signs. So air is the Libra, the Gemini, and the Aquarius. Now, it is often guided by the mind. It is the thinkers, and that can be the overthinkers. And so when we feel like we have to make a choice or decision in a hurry, we may either freeze. So you may either freeze, or I'm listening, or you may either just respond too quickly. You may be impulsive with that choice or that decision. And I feel like the guides are telling the air signs I feel there's a struggle here for the air signs for the next till the end of the year is to truly learn, discover how to let the heart to be the thinker, the heart brain, to operate from the heart brain. And it's going to feel very foreign because you're so used to being in the air up here. But there's space to breathe in the heart, from the heart. And it's for you to give yourself space to breathe moving forward. So we're going to ask the cards, we're going to ask the oracle for what it is that air needs to do. And it's funny because I said I was coming in with 3 decks of cards, and that was my overthinking. I've only used the goddess within, it's the feminine energy. So, it's like, so we got the eye of the beholder, we have Queenie. And so the heart, and see, the heart brain, right? We have the possibilities of the good, bad, and the ugly. We have the capability to be all things. We have all things within us. We are all what is in the universe is within us. And so we can become, caught up in our stories and our thoughts. We can be, I'm not an air sign. You can be you can. So somehow the guides that are speaking are very connected to the air signs. I'm like, this is interesting. I don't have many air signs in my chart. I only have one. And so this is where, it's like you can really, truly kind of, I don't want to say two-faced because that's not it, but be one person with one group and then be another person with another group. It's like being a chameleon to the environment and somehow losing your authenticity. And you're being told not to lose your authenticity, even though it's not everyone's going to like you, not everyone's going to love you. And because your brilliance and the ability to be a thinker is that when the heart and the mind come in sync together, you're going to make some of your most brilliant choices and decisions. But there is change in the air, but it's like a very childlike energy. I feel like it's moving into a time of when, you've really been caught up in all that has been happening. You've been over absorbing everything that's been happening in the world, too caught up in the world. And like overemphasizing it. But moving forward is the ability to use discernment. But this childlike energy in this heart center, this heart brain is asking you, what do I really believe to be true for me? And what do I really need? And stepping into the heart and trusting the heart to guide you. Now, it is card 32. It is in the crone energy, which is saying, we see you, we see all of you, and yet we accept all of you. We see all that you are. We see your whole natal chart. We see all of you. And we see all of that sense of your innate identity. We see how you have a pattern of doing this, which is hard to sometimes break, and we see why you do it. But it doesn't mean you can't change it. So the change is in the heart of the story. And so you may be discovering the heart of the news of a story of why you do what you do, why you respond how you do. And you may be recognizing that you're not the people, you're not the world's energy, that you're not this, that you've become. And so there is a deep discovery. And so the self and the deep connection to spirit and to your soul, to your relationship to the soul self, and really listening to your higher self and being guided by the heart's desire, I think it's going to have you really opening up that back door and going to the spaces where you have not yet been, because there's a lot of I know, and you got a lot of wisdom and you can channel a lot of good wisdom, a lot of good information, but there is a human element, and that human element is the power of the mind, and that the mind and so the ego's desire is to get you back to comfort, get you back to familiar ground. And so the mind can also be like the mousetrap, right? It traps you, it entraps you, could be the entrapment story. And so making sure that you don't chase the cheese that is underneath, and not look up and not look around and not to question, not to use discernment, is going to leave you trapped in a similarity of the old patterns if you're not aware. And so becoming aware of self and all versions of self, and accepting all of self. And when you accept all of self, it's like the integration of that shadow. I accept that I can be this way, but it doesn't mean that I have to just, that everyone else has to get over it and I have to stay that way. It's like, but why is it that's my go-to? So these habits will begin to change of when you are aware of where this is coming from, where the habits coming from, where the behavior patterns. And like I said, and you'll be releasing a lot of enemies from your mind, from what's been trapped, what's been a lot of resentment, a lot of frustration, a lot of old stories and narratives, really truly leaving you now, so that you don't carry the burdens and the weight, and that you don't have others entrapped, right? There's the sense of cutting the cords. Archangel Michael, I feel like, very powerfully with you, so that you can cut the cords and release this energy and release others, free others from your energy, so that you're not acting out of what has been imprinted upon you based on, the behavioral patterns that were pushed upon you. And so there's a freedom that's coming in, and the childlike energy is the heart brain living from the heart. It's a spark of joy and hope that is moving you forward as you start to shift in. I'm like, big, beautiful things. I just see big, beautiful things if you truly, honestly let the heart guide you. And I hope that really, truly helps my air signs. And now we're going to move into Earth. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, grounded, rooted, kind of really, truly gotta have a plan, gotta know where you're going, gotta know what you're doing, gotta be somewhat organized. And I feel like this next part this year may feel a little bit messy for you, and it's going to get a little bit messy. And it's going to be the realization that you're not always right, that sometimes that stubbornness, that persistence has held you back from being able to experience the love of life. So being able to romanticize about life, being able to take your feet off the ground. So it's like, I can walk, I can get myself there. So the stubbornness of this, it's like, never mind, I can walk, I can do it myself. It really truly can be, it can be the thing that holds you back. I got this, and I can take care of everyone, and I can lead everyone. I can be the guide to everyone. And it's like, you know what? I don't want to be an adult today. I don't want to be so grown up. I want to take my feet off the ground, and I want to let myself fly. I want to so it's like, for many of that earth sign, I feel like it's like the ground is breaking from underneath your feet, and you can either let yourself fall into it out of the unwillingness to believe in something else of yourself, that you're something more than what you've told yourself your whole life, or you can let yourself gain the wings to fly, and you can step into new possibilities. What if I am not who I've told myself? What if there's something more of me? And I'm like, and I'm just get such the urge to go to the sort of lights, but it's like, that was the sense of, no, don't go there. Don't go there. Go with the everyday goddess. It's okay. If you're masculine and you've been in the masculine energy and you've always thought you needed to be in charge, let's soften this shit up today. So let's get to the softer side. Let's lead to this. And And just know that sometimes all that being over responsible for everyone else has really truly impeded you being able to live as your full truth. And sometimes we got a lot of shit stories going on. And so you got the everyday miracle. She is. What if things are too big for you? What if things can't be, what if things are not meant to be figured out? What if you'll never figure it out? What if that's okay? What if it's okay that you just don't know? What if you just take a leap of faith and you don't need the consumer report before you buy something new? You just buy something that you like. What if you just do something that you love instead of something that's practical? What if you just say no to the family and just do something for you? What if you just kind of let freaking go and let yourself fly? And as my dear friend Lisa says, it's like, why is everybody trying to walk? Don't they know they can fly? Right. And so you can fly. What if you do have wings? And so the everyday miracle is the card that's coming in. And when you become the miracle in your own life, when you become that within yourself, then you can become a mirror for others, for them to have their own, for them to discover their own way to creating miracles in their lives, which takes effort. And if you keep being the one to figure everything out for everyone else, then how will they ever learn? And so there's a lot of lessons to be learned for other people that you need to let people learn, because you're really impeding. You're trying to make the world comfortable. You're trying to make it comfortable for everyone. And in the meantime, it's made your life very uncomfortable. And so there is things that, it's like, go do something without your familiar people. Go do something without a map. Go do something without a knowing. It is time for you to step into an unknown. It is time for you to open up this sense of self. It is time for you to get to the middle road, and say, I can travel this middle road. I can trust spirit, and I don't need to figure out a way to fix everything. I'm going to hand this over. I give it to God, and just giving it to God, whatever God means to you, God consciousness, source, creator. And I'm just going to give this over because I can't do this and I don't want to do this. And this is too much for me. And now I'm just going to set myself free of this. And by setting yourself free, letting this go, there is a movement here. And so I feel like it's like you're becoming a part of a movement, and the angels and the guides are here to work with you. So your connection to the guides and to the angels, I feel like, is being strengthened. The divine is trying to work with you. And it's like, you've been working with the elements of the earth, and now it's time to work with the elements of the sky. And this is where you don't know this world so well in so many ways. And so it's like, let yourself be guided by all that can fly, all that is impossible, because you've been looking out. You've probably had this telescope. You're probably looking out at the universe and wondering what's out there, but you're afraid to go there, because then your story will break, or then that sense of I'm practical will leave, or I'm an atheist may no longer be what you may be. I'm a Christian. You may no longer be that form of whatever you are. So there is a change in form of many versions of that earth sign that is changing. And I just feel like the earth is opening, the ground is opening, and it's like, and it's not here to swallow you up. I just feel like it's all opening so that you can learn how to do things in another way, in a new way, and to let go of some of that control that is coming up. So that's what I have for the elements, and that's what we have that's happening all the way through. But this is a weekly message, but it's also tied into a prediction for the rest of the year. And so let it guide you, because this week's message is something. It is that elastic band. Here's the elastic band. It has been stretched to here. Now it has been let go. And in a split second, it's over here, and it's returning to original form. And it may sting sometimes, and it may hurt sometimes if you're in the way, right? If you are in your own way and you refuse to move, then it's going to sting. It's going to be hurt. But if you say, I'm moving out of my own way, I'm getting out of my own way, I'm allowing myself to be guided by the divine, by spirit guide, by whatever you believe in, and just letting myself be taken on this journey, and letting myself go. And whether it's slow, whether it's fast, whether it's very different from someone else's, whether it is a total change in direction, whether it doesn't even make sense to others, I'm going to really trust this version of myself. And it's like, so remember, do you want to repeat the lessons? Do you want to be over here wanting to chew your arm off, or trying to escape this, and you're on the run, and then you're trying to kind of retrace the steps and wonder why did I get myself into this? It's because you allowed yourself to believe in the imitation. You allowed yourself to get caught up in, you lost yourself in the moment that you let yourself be caught in being away from you. And so if referring it back to the beginning story, if you went out and you drank and you went out and partied and you weren't yourself, and that you let go of that self, and then you did something that was out of character, and then you realize the next day that was nothing of what I thought it was last night. That person looks nothing like who I thought they were, and it's like, oh, so you're going to run. Now, there may have been something of that experience. It may have been something that you even liked about them, but it was because it wasn't you, it wasn't your truth that made that choice or decision. That's where the fear comes in, right? That's where the sense of, oh, what did I do again? And it's because when we let our shadow self, when we let our watered down, unauthentic self make those choices and decisions, they're always being made for the shadow and not for your truth. And our mission is to return to truth, return to that sense of self, of where we feel that sense of pride, we restore integrity, and we build strong foundations. And that's the direction we're moving into. Much love. I hope this helped you in some way, and that you truly and you embrace this into your life somehow. And if it resonates, fine. If it doesn't for your sun sign, you'll get all the rest of you. But hopefully this is a message that resonates with you and your experience of today. Thank you for listening. Like I said, if you want to purchase my cards, I ended up not using the other cards. See, there was my ego coming in. I pulled in the tarot, I pulled in the Sword of Light. I'm like, and then I pulled in my deck, and I ended up only using one card from each deck. We got the She Is the Everyday Miracle. So let's actually go back and let's do a general card for the whole collective energy to end this out. And it's the power of staying in my own. I even wrote about this morning. Don't repeat that pattern. Don't repeat that habit of stepping yourself aside to let other things come in. Stargazer Frida, everything that we have, we have everything that we need. And is it possible for there to be whales in the sky? Yes, there is, because there is. It is in the constellation. Is if we only see it as it can only be possible if it's in the water. There's only whales in the water, then we will never look up to see. We'll never open our minds. It's time to be able to open your mind, open your eyes, open your heart to see that this light exists within us. And we are the light, we are the love, we are the change. And that light, love, and change is all within us first. Much, much love. And this is another 4. And so this power of the 4, right, can be ones and ones, two, twos. It can be a multiple of numbers, but or can be a 3, 1. So there can be many sequence of events, and there can be many paths and many directions and many choices. Remember where you have been, where you don't want to go again. Breathe into you, slow it down, take your time, even if it takes you 6 months to take your time to decide, and just trust. There's beautiful things that are unfolding, but sometimes it's going to be messy. It's going to sting before it gets beautiful. That's what we have for you. Have a beautiful day. And if you want to purchase my cards, go to CorrieThorne.com. If you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on all of my social media links. Everything is directly on my website. Everything's in the comments section below. And you can go into the Academy, into MTE Academy. And in the Academy, we have many courses and meditations and beautiful things for you to be able to take advantage of. And I got a couple classes and courses coming up. I have a Lionsgate activation 2 evening class that's coming up beginning of August, and then More Than Existing level 1 lightworker certification is beginning in September. So, and there's an incentive to get signed up early into the program. So much love. Have a beautiful day and check out all of my work. Much love.